Greetings to everybody. We are here for the 35th intergenerational meeting. Today, we have three guests on the subject navigating the conference circuit from application to impactful networking. Before we come to hear about our topic, I will try to give some information about our guests. Maham Dilawar is one of our guests. She's an upcoming PGY psychiatry resident, PGY1 psychiatry resident at the Medical University of South Carolina, currently working in addiction sciences, substance use research. Her future plans are to pursue child and adolescent psychiatry with a keen focus on the transitional period from adolescence into young adulthood and substance use among youth. In her downtime, she says, she likes to hike and cook for friends. I hope she will invite all of us and family and has a growing interest in wholesome nutrition, fitness, and its relationship to mental health. So the second speaker, Ferhat Hüseyinov, originally from Azerbaijan. She recently graduated from Bursa Uludağ University School of Medicine from Turkey, currently looking for postdoc or research assistant position in America and planning to apply residency for psychiatry next cycle. His interest areas are intersection of art and psychiatry, LGBT community, and suicide prevention. In his spare time, he loves to interact with any kind of art, music, theater, painting, and sports, and use them as a tool in mental health promotion. After these two graduates, we will have our currently student young friend, Ahmet Batu Uzunkaya. He is a fourth-year medical student at Ankara Yıldırım Beyazıt University with a strong passion for psychiatry. Gained valuable research experience in the Brain and Cognitive Sciences Department at MIT in 2020, contributing to various projects. Returned to Turkey to create a student group related with brain in his university, but it didn't work out. So he co-founded a student organization under the auspices of the Psychiatric Association of Turkey, aiming to unite psychiatry interested students and promote the field. Actively involved in neuroscience, behavioral sciences, and philosophy, aspires to lead international initiatives to accurately promote psychiatry in the near future. With his permission, I will suggest to say promote mental health in the near future. We keep talking about this among our seat members. Most of our friends may prefer psychiatry, but we are trying to be a bit more general in speaking about mental health. Well, we have other guests as well, but let me remind, if you don't open your cameras, we can't see you on YouTube, dear colleagues. May I give the floor to Maham? I think she will have some opening remarks. Welcome, Maham.
Thanks, Dr. Bielant. It's wonderful to be able to present here again. I am very honored, honestly, to be presenting with Farhad Husseinov and Batu, both of you guys. Farhad especially, we have known each other through the SEED group for, God, I don't even know how long now, probably more than a year, but we most recently met in person at the ACAP conference in Seattle, Washington, just a couple weeks ago. ACAP stands for the American Association of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. It's a fantastic conference that happens every single year. And I believe it was Farhad's first time there. And he really shot, like, he was such a great addition to have at the conference this year, which is why we thought that this topic was very important to touch on, especially for some of our younger students or younger medical students. We're going to be going over kind of every aspect of the conference application, conference etiquette, conference, anything that's related to the conference we'll try to touch on today. And if anyone has any comments or questions, feel free to just in the chat while we're presenting, put your comments in there, put your questions in there, or just wait until the end when we have like our larger discussion. Farhad, I don't know if you wanted to say anything before I start sharing my screen, or Batu as well.
You just keep going.
All right, Dr. Bulant, with your permission, should I go ahead and start?
Please go
Okay,
ahead.
perfect. Thank you. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. Please let me know if it's legible, if everyone can see. We tried not to make the actual aesthetics of this presentation too aesthetic. You can see it's pretty plain, but hopefully the content of it will be pretty colorful. So the topic that we are all presenting on today, like I mentioned, me, Farhad, and Batu, is navigating the conference circuit from application to impactful networking. So firstly, why do we attend conferences? As medical students, as physicians, early career, late career, the kind of two main umbrella reasons that I think that we attend conferences is number one, learning and professional development. Conferences, whether they're international or they're local. So local to me means like within the US, local to Farhad could mean like within Turkey, or international conferences, for example. You do a lot of learning, you do a lot of professional development there. You learn a lot about new techniques, whether that's for psychiatry or any other field. You learn about new interventions, you learn new ideas, you get to participate in different symposiums, and you get to share your ideas and thoughts between, different levels of physicians, different levels of care, which I think is very fascinating, and you really truly learn a lot. And one other thing is the CME credit. So CME stands for continuing medical education. I don't know necessarily how important this is internationally, but here in the US, in order to maintain your licensure, like your medical licensure, your CME credits count for a lot. And a lot of times when you go to these conferences, you can apply for a certain amount of CME credits to be credited to your account, basically. And then the other reason why we attend conferences is networking. It's simple as that. Some examples of networking or ways in which conferences can benefit us in terms of networking is finding mentorship. So I, for one, for example, found one of my greatest mentors at the ACAP conference 2 years ago. His name is Dr. Waqar Azim. He works in Qatar. He is a fantastic psychiatrist. And I just happened to meet him by chance at one of these events. He came up to me. He saw my poster that I was presenting. I exchanged emails with him and we got in touch and we've been in touch ever since. And he's been a really key mentor for me throughout my career so far. Another reason or another way that we network is by meeting colleagues, whether old colleagues or new colleagues. And like I've kind of alluded to with Farhad, making lifelong friends and connections. All right. Speaking about kind of the logistics of conferencing, the main thing to keep in mind when you are looking into a conference is the timeline. There's very specific deadlines for everything. And also I'll talk about the timeline and hopefully Farhad can talk about the cost section of the slide. So about a year before you think about applying for a conference, first of all, you've got to find the conference. You have to find a conference that really aligns with your goals. So like Dr. Bilant mentioned, I'm someone who is interested in child and adolescent psychiatry. So my focus really over the past, like I'd say 3 to 4 years, has been to find psychiatry conferences, but also specifically child and adolescent psychiatry conferences. Just because that aligns with my goals. And I know that if I network at those conferences, it'll help me more in the long term. And a year before, you also just want to start making note of deadlines. Conferences can have pretty tight deadlines where you have to submit your abstract by like XYZ date. And then when that gets accepted, then you have to submit the actual presentation, whatever the presentation medium is. So being very organized and making sure you note down the deadlines is a very important key. 6 months before the actual conference, you would go ahead and submit your abstract. They usually have like an online portal where you can, in like a PDF form or Word document form, submit your abstract. Each conference has its own specific guidelines that you can find on their website. So, for example, the conference that Farhad and I went to, their abstract was about 350 words for a poster presentation, and we both had poster presentations there. 6 months before, you also would start working on your presentation, ideally, if you were doing a poster, for example, and if you've been working on a research project within your medical university or with one of your mentors or whoever it may be, even if it's alone, you ideally want to have all of your data wrapped up, all of your data analysis being done currently or like wrapping up so that you are ready to have that presentation kind of ready for the conference. And then you simply will wait for acceptance from the conference people to see if they accept your abstract. I'd say 1 to 3 months before a conference, you would begin planning. Planning is pretty extensive, especially if you are an international medical graduate and you are planning on traveling to like, an international conference. So things like your flight, your accommodation, your daily budget, those are important things to keep in mind and to plan like ahead of time, just so that you're not caught in the last minute and you, God forbid, have to pull out of the conference for budgeting reasons. And then roughly 2 weeks to 1 month before, you would print out any materials as applicable. So for example, since Farhad and I did our poster presentations, we had to like have a physical copy of our poster printed out. So making sure that you don't do that, sorry, last minute is pretty important. I'll hand it off to Farhad now. Farhad can talk about some of the costs that is associated with conferencing.
Yeah, thank you, Maham. Just I want to say that actually the cost side is mostly depend on like you. Yeah, just yeah, yeah. The cost side actually mostly depends on you. I mean, the main thing that is like it's not impossible. Like attending fees are like mostly free for medical students, but even you are not medical student, you can do like some monitoring in some several sessions for it's being free. And like for accommodation, actually you can find some hotel near, but if you want like don't pay like money, you can find some places like through couch surfing, which I did and just like with that, like I stayed in Seattle actually for like 2 weeks for free, which will like cut like help me a lot. And like the main like thing to like pay is actual transportation, like the flight, like buying flight ticket. But like other than that, like actually we have I can say that most of like foods that we can eat during given conference, and like actually you don't spend so much. So I think that part shouldn't actually limit you if you're really too eager like to attend this kind of conferences. So we can pass on the next slide.
And another additional point to note is I know a lot of institutions, such as the WPA, for example, are always running competitions or opportunities where they will send students almost for free to conferences. So just look for things like that on different websites, such as the WPA, because those are an option, an excellent option to make your travel costs and your kind of conference costs as low as possible, especially as an international graduate.
Yeah, and I also know that sometimes people can like reach out to their own universities that if you're a medical student, like for paying their, I mean, pay expenses, that also can happen. But in my situation, I was like already graduated. That's why I didn't try that. And now we are going to talk about like tips and tricks for a successful conference experience. So I'm like, we are gonna talk some section by section. And first, like pre-congress content review. So with ACAP, the thing is that there's so much content what's happening like at the same time. Even I can say that like 10 or 15 sessions at like every hour. So it's really actually good to like, search them like before like even weeks before. And in ACAP, actually, there's also like individualized apps that you can enter and like see all session, but even not I mean, you can find any booklet or like PDFs on their like website that you can search through. And like it's actually important because uh, when you go there and see like all the sessions happening, sometimes you can get overwhelmed. But when you like did your research, so you can find the sessions that really related to your interest area, so you can choose them. And in a cap app, you can even see like the description and the people that are gonna present it. So it's actually made it easier. So I really advise that so much. And the second stuff that I did actually to emailing to the professors. And the main point is here is that like I would advise you to like send emails at least 2 weeks before the meeting because the thing is that actually right now I'm even like looking for position and every day I like send hundreds of emails and I really get so few response like which mostly happens because like doctors are busy. But the thing is that when like in the like before the meeting, when I mean I mentioned that I'm gonna attend this meeting and people know that we would have like a chance to have face-to-face interactions. So actually, I did get a lot of response back, which is like actually good. And but the thing is that I emailed some of them so lately, like 2 or 3 days before the meeting start. So I get like automatic replies that they are already out of their office. So that could be like something that we keep in our mind. And I can say that like putting like image on the image, like your photo on email even helps because I remember that like on my first day when I like attend this meeting, like Dr. Schwartzman like spotted me even like from far away and he said that like, yeah, I remember you like sent me an email and it's really like helps you a lot, like to like make connections. So even like I put some like photos from the stuff that I did, it's really like, helps you to engage in the conversation with them. So we can move on.
Yeah. And another thing to add here when you're sending emails, I know Farhad did an amazing job at sending these emails because he injected a little bit of personality into them. And we touch on this in kind of in some of the upcoming slides, but as part of the medical culture, I think oftentimes we are told to keep things very professional, very almost sterile, and you take all the personality out of it. However, oftentimes I found that when I put my genuine personality into it, or like Farhad has done with these emails, it really catches the eye of higher up people. Like, for example, this guy, Stephen Schulzman, who's like the chief division of adult psychiatry, child and adolescent psychiatry at the University of Vermont. So I really appreciated his point of like putting in a picture or two and then just having something like he mentioned over here in this email that he was involved in theater. And the Dr. Schulzman directly responded to that. So that's important to note that, you should not have to dampen your personality um, at all.
So actually, that's like I can say that Maham don't have that problem when we attended to ACA, but I had like when it's really when I step in like the conference place, just like there's so much people and like it's all totally like strange to me, and that's why you feel that like shyness like a lot because you don't know how to reach people. So it's really important to like break that and like having fun. So first, like find your people, and that people for me is Maham at that time. Just we actually met face to face as the like first day, like at the end of the first day, and until that time, I remember that I was doing okay, but again, I really didn't feel so secure because like I met with some people, but I really didn't have like the connection that I can say. But like after Maham, she really encouraged me a lot, and like we had really sincere talk. And like after that, I really felt that I had this confidence. So it's really important, like meet with people and trying to make connection. Just like people are really nice, actually. Sometimes you can say that you can say that like what am I gonna like tell to this person or like professors that like they have really great experiences, so like how can I add something to him or her? So like you get in your brain, but just like talk people, shake hands with them, and like uh and never like forget that actually most people feel the same way you do. So my main advice can be that like start with actual medical students. When you actually wear badges, you can see like who's like medical student. So you can reach them and like talk about like insecurities. So like they can actually prompt you about it. So the second point is like don't solely actually focus on academic side of conference. Um, I can say that this actual point limit us a lot because when you're in conference, you saw that, you need to only talk about like articles, research, or like, only about medical stuff. But I think that it's really put limits, like how you connect with them. I mean, you actually can talk about with them, like, even about your hobbies or like about like some meal that you had that day. Like, it really doesn't matter. Like, just actually like lose it, just like don't think about it so much. Just like go and like pop up conversation and like try to see like where it goes. And don't feel guilty to like let loose or like make friends and connect on personal level, but so it's also like really help to uh like mm,
Really make those like deep connections, I think.
yeah, and like in a way that you can also learn so much stuff like with your friends. Like even like sometimes you think that the main reason is here only to talk with professor, but it's not. I really learned a lot of stuff like about match cycle or like other like IMG related issues during my conference, like with friends. So that's also important. And don't feel obligated to attend all sessions. I remember like on the second day, I was so overwhelmed at the end of the day because I attended so much stuff and like there's so much like new information in my brain. I didn't know like where to put it. So just like I didn't attend the last meeting and just I go for a walk, just like take some like fresh air and like try to like put stuff in my hair in my head. So that's also essential. And extracurriculars. I can say that it's actually can be unique to AACAP because I heard that not every conference, like every conference has its own dynamics. But in ACAP, we had so much stuff like, art sessions or like running session, uh, open mic. And I can say that I really did like a bunch of networking even there. I remember like we were like running for 10K at the early morning. And it's like, I really like talked, there was like one professor, even I like took her like email while we are running. And just like, that was really fun actually. Um, and actually, these places are good opportunity to express yourself, like other than psychiatry or like even maybe like related to psychiatry, and to show that actually you are well grounded and like you can look to the subject from different point of views. So if you're like natural introverts, try to break out of your shell. But if you're like extroverts, so try to help introvert people. And because sometimes when you are like main character in your brain, you really get so much stress. When you think that you wanna connect with someone, with like professor or program director, you just like get nervous. But when you like change the main character, like when you like want to reach the program director for your friend, it's really you don't get that stress a lot. So that's why it's actually so easy, like to help, like to the person that you see. I mean, suffer at that time. Like it really happened so much time with Maham because like I felt like shy or insecure, but like she grabbed me and like take to this program director and like introduced me. So just help your company and it will be good.
I agree
So
100%
yeah.
because I know Farhad's talking a lot about how the things that I did for him, but at the same time, when I was kind of at his level, I had someone, a girl who was doing the same thing for me. So it's very important to note, like, yeah, you just keep helping your juniors, keep helping your, and you keep that cycle going because we need to stick together, and that's the way to do it. Moving on to the nuances of meaningful communication. At a conference, communication is everything. It's like the first impression that people get of you is the way that you speak, and not the way that you dress, but mainly the way that you speak is the way that you're going to captivate people. So some tips and tricks over here that I have learned over the years, and Farhad has also said that he's learned over the years. Number one, do not rush. Connections take time. Do not rush through your conversations. If you're talking to someone, make sure that you're actively listening to them. I think a lot of medical students that I've seen at least have made the mistake of trying to like dominate the conversation. They try to whoever they're talking to, whether that's a program director, whether that's a senior, whether that's junior, they will talk only about themselves and not really ask any questions to the other person. That's a huge indicator that, you're only there for kind of a selfish reason to network, which people know that you're there for, but they also want to see that you can hold up a conversation in like a normal way, in a civilized way. So make sure that you are not rushing through, making sure you're actively listening to the other person. Be present in the moment when you're speaking with people. I know it's very hard sometimes when you're overwhelmed, like Farhad said, you're exhausted. It's, especially a conference like the one that we were at, it literally, 8 a.m. in the morning to 10 p.m. at night. There were so many things that we had to do or wanted to do because there were so many presentations that we wanted to attend. Oftentimes we were very tired, but always when you're speaking with someone, whoever that is, whether that's a junior or a senior, you should be present in the moment and don't kind of zone out. Also, don't fake it. Genuineness is very easy to spot, especially in psychiatry, I believe. So don't try to, if you really don't, for example, like a subject, but you know that the program director that you're talking about loves that subject, you don't have to fake it. They'll be able to tell pretty easily. So be genuine to yourself and try connecting more with people such as program directors and seniors who share common interests with you, just because the conversation will naturally kind of flow more naturally. And you'll have a lot easier time connecting with those same people who share common interests and common goals with you. Like I mentioned, don't dominate the conversation. This is a two-way street, so make sure you're asking very genuine questions from the person that you're speaking to. Focus on eye contact, but don't be weird about it. A lot of people will see something like this, like focus on eye contact, and then just have very intense eye contact with the other person without breaking it. That can be very jarring to people. So have a nice balance of like off and on eye contact, but again, make it genuine. And most importantly, do not forget to take people's contact information. If you're sitting there or if you're standing there talking to someone for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or an hour, make sure that you get their contact information. Make sure you ask them what method of contact that they prefer, text message over email. It will vary per person. And follow up with them in a timely manner. Even if you were to send them a simple email like, hi, I met with you today. This is my name. I really enjoyed our conversation with you. And then here's my attached CV. I'd like to work with you in the future. It doesn't have to be something that's like 15 paragraphs long. It could just simply be thanking them for their time at the conference. And that goes a long way because it shows that you're interested in working with them. And then kind of going off the last slide, conference etiquette. These are just some additional tips and tricks that are kind of, common sense, but I think should be reiterated. Be organized and be on time. Farhad mentioned earlier that a lot of the conferences these days have an online application where you can literally plan out your day. So you can put in your activities that you're going to do that day. You can put in all the sessions that you're going to do. Make sure that you were there on time. It makes a huge difference. And it's just a nice courtesy to the speaker as well, instead of people coming in like 10 minutes into their lecture. I think it's really important. So have a plan for your day and arrive to time on sessions. Stay alert and focus throughout the conference. Make sure you're not sleeping during sessions. That's something that we tend to see sometimes, because like I mentioned, sometimes these conferences can be a little chaotic, a little crazy. There's a lot going on. People are losing sleep. Don't be doing that in the conference. Number 3, do not complain unnecessarily or make a fuss about some of the negative aspects of the conference. No one likes to hear a lot of unnecessary complaints. So don't really let the negative events, if there are any, bog you down. Be a problem solver, if anything. It'll go a long way. And last 2 points are pretty common sense, but just wear your name badge at all times. It's the only way that people can get a snapshot look at you. They'll know where you're from, they'll know your degree, and they'll know what your name is, which that goes a long way. And try your best to dress to impress. Like I mentioned, the way that you speak and then the way that you dress is your first impression, and you always want to make sure that that is on point.
Yeah. I just wanted to put this 3 image because actually they're the things that with psychiatry, I started to attend my first psychiatry congress last year, again in November in Turkey on Ankara. And I remember actually, my main drive is my interest because I know that I'm really want to like meet with like likely people, and like I want to share my like views about like topics and like learn what's happening on like on the uh, country, like in Turkey or like internationally. But I couldn't find any teacher or like any professor like to have any research. So I didn't have any poster presentation. I just like I took photo with like the introduction slide, and I see that I remember that I saw a lot of people like having poster presentation, and I actually a bit like jealous of them because I also want to like present something because some of them are really like interested to it. So I just like put aim that like I will next time I will attend the congress and I will present a poster. So I reached out to my professors at the host at my university, and we wrote a like case report, and I attended this congress again in Turkey, in Istanbul, related to sexuality and like sexual treatment. And then actually I said, why not why not attend to some international conference? And I reached out to like people with like emails that do research in America, and I reached to like Gülnur Karakurt, and she like accepted my offer, and that's why I ended up like presenting in US that I am planning to apply for residency. So I should just believe in the process because when I attend my first conference, it's really I remember that it's like it was really hard to make any connection, like not even making eye contact. Even like Turkish is my like kind of first language. It was really hard to keep that up. But like through times you learn, just you get some experience and you know how to actually react, and you feel more safe and calm, and it's really uh yeah, helped you a lot. So that's all.
And thank you so much for attending. Here are both of our emails. If you have any questions, if you'd like to collaborate with us, we're both very open to pretty much anything. If you just wanted to pop in and say hi to us, that's totally fine as well. Feel free to always ask us any questions. And we are very excited to hear some of your guys' experiences as well as they relate to conferences. So hopefully we can have a nice productive conversation once I stop sharing my screen. And we hope to see you all at the next seed meeting next month. Thank you.
For their presentation. I think I can go on from this. Well, first of all, I don't really have much experience for congresses, conferences. Recently, I have attended to National Psychiatric Congress, 60th National Psychiatric Congress, and it was organized by Psychiatric Association of Turkey. I was a student who presented a presentation about discrimination. And we had a group of 3 people, including me, 2 other students from across the country. We did a presentation and it was really good. But the thing that I really want to say about conferences and congresses is that don't really focus on academic side of the congress, like Farhad said. What we really want to do at the conferences is to, make relationships, and relationships take time. We really want to do, strengthen it with emails or other type of, something like messages. And we really need to do, remember the contact information, like Farhad said. The main thing I will be talking about here is to find is finding the right person. So what does that mean, finding the right person? Any idea?
Someone like you?
Yeah.
So I mean, I found the right person. I think Farhad found me as well. We had very similar goals. We were at the same conference. We had already known each other, and our personalities kind of matched. We were very quick friends, very easy to connect. Do you have anything to add to that? I don't know. The right person.
Yeah, finding the right person is something like that. I'm talking about mainly the mentorship. Farhad said, Maham was kind of like a mentor for him, and Maham had a mentor when she was at our level too. Um, we actually had a mentor too. Dr. Iram Keshici here was our mentor. Thank you for all the things that you have done for us at the Congress. Um, so without a mentor, doing this alone, attending to a Congress can be tough, might be difficult for someone who is alone. And you really need to find a mentor. And like I said before, relationships take time. So you need to work on that way before the conference. You really need to find a mentor uh, who will help you during the conference. So what does a mentor do actually, right? We really want to do, learn that. So what does a mentor do? The thing is, there's an umbrella term for this. There's an umbrella term for what you do at the conference and what do the mentors do for you. It's basically advertising. Yeah, you're going to advertise yourself. But the main thing about this is, like Maham said, don't be fake, don't be artificial, don't make this conversation artificial. Be genuine and sincere. Um, you know, you gotta advertise yourself. Like Maham said, some I can't remember the guy's name, but he sort of heard poster, and then she got his email, and it continues like that, right? So she advertised herself. Well, the thing is, there's a question here. Is it for me, or maybe we can take it at the end of the presentation? All right. So mentors actually help you with the scholarships too. Maybe the conference cost is too expensive for you as a medical student, then the mentors will apply to scholarships for you. And sometimes you really need to have a mentor to do that. Um, you know, doing this alone can be tough. You don't know anything about the system. You don't know anything about scholarships. Maybe you don't really know, how much does the conference cost. So these are things I really wanted to talk about. But there is one thing that I really want to focus on. Like I said before, it was advertising. Academic side of the conference is good. You really have to attend it. You really have to attend the conferences, but you really need to advertise yourself as well. So I will share my presentation here to, to, make an example for the how much I focused on the academic side of the conference and how much I focused on the networking part. As you can see here, this is my presentation. The presentation that I presented at the conference. It's very simple, you know, not really much. Yeah, there's a cockroach here. Very visual, not very much texts. Thing is, I literally just talked and talked and, showed pictures on my presentation. And really for me is to, when I say cockroaches, you will remember that picture from the presentation, yes? So you will remember me. Uh, I say something like, I had the presentation about cockroaches. So, somebody who have attended to my conference, attended to my presentation, remember me, maybe the cockroach guy. Not something that we want, but they will remember you. So, like Farhad and Maham said, emailing after the conference and making this intermittently is really, something that you should be doing. Um, I'm looking at my notes here. If there is something that I have missed, talked about advertising, I talked about mentoring, and this mentorship, before the Congress, like Dr. Bilan said in my biography, we were trying to, establish some kind of student group. That student group had a mentor too, one of the co-founders of the Psychiatric Association of Turkey, and he really, really helped us for the conference. I really suggest you to establish your connections way before the congress, so you can actually get some scholarships for the congresses, get some, I don't know, um, some other relationships maybe. At the conference, your mentor will guide you through the relationships, through networking. So without a mentor, you may be a little shy. So like they say, like Farhad and Maham said, you have your shyness, but this may be a little difficult for students because the conference or congress not something they should be attending, right? They're medical students. They don't really know anything. Why do they attend, right? Um, but it's not like that. You really, work on your relationships too, and to break your shyness. Your mentors will guide you uh, through the relationships as well. So I guess that's about it. If there's any questions, I will happily answer that.
Many thanks to all. Thank you, Maham. Thank you, Ferhat. Thank you, Batu. There is a question. I think you all see it, asked by Sahar Alizadeh. Who would like to answer that? You see that?
Yes, I see this in the chat. So thank you so much,
Yeah.
Sar Alizada, for your question. She is asking, when do you think is a good time to approach attendings or program directors in a conference? She says that the only time that they see those people, the program directors, is when they have given a talk, and she feels that approaching them right after their talk, just for introducing herself, feels weird. She is asking, is there anything that you would recommend in terms of approaching them? So I have kind of been a conventional method of approaching program directors sometimes, and I found that this really works. I try to find residents from that program and then talk to them, make a good impression for them, and then they naturally will be like, oh, you should talk to a program director. That has like without fail worked for me at pretty much every conference that I've gone to. It's what my mentor, the girl that I was telling you about, told me to do. Try to get in with their residents, and then that connection to the program director will naturally happen. It'll naturally happen afterwards. Also, if you're presenting a poster, many of the program directors I see just casually walking around. Pretty much every conference that I've been to, they really do keep an eye out for medical student posters, especially. So making sure that you are keeping your eye out for, the program director that you're looking to speak to. Maybe they are kind of near you looking at posters. So making sure you connect with them then would be a good time as well. But like you mentioned, talking to them right after their talk or their presentation, also not a bad idea, as long as they're not being like harassed by a bunch of other medical students and other people. Just be smart about it.
Yeah, actually, I want to add one point. As you said, like at the end of the meetings, they can be like really preoccupied with like so much people. Or actually, like to be like step away from like all those people. Like I think the thing that I did like is actually mailing, because like when I mailed and also reached out to them like after the presentation, I said that like I did email you like last week, and they like immediately say, yeah, I remember you. And like after that, it's really like likely that you can like set time with them like for a coffee, or like for like meeting face to face. So it's like much more likely, because they see that you are like determined, they see that you really care them, like, by sending email, like, so that's my trick.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And Sahar says it helped. Yeah, we have other guests in our meeting, but I think we can't see them anyway. If they want to contribute, they can. Irem, would you like to say anything?
So hello everyone. I also want to thank you for their presentations. Uh, Even if I'm not a medical student anymore and I'm a resident, it helped me a lot too because I still have like issues to start a communication in a conference or so. So their advices helped me a lot too. Thank you for their presentations.
We have
Thank you.
another.
I know that it's very hard sometimes for people to start communication, but just recognize that like everyone feels the same way. That's what I always think.
We have another guest among us. Sarah, would you like to contribute?
Hello everyone, thanks. I'm in a public place, going on my way to work, and I listen to you, and it was great. But I was here for the uh, half of this session. So I will see it in the YouTube. It's right. It will be in YouTube.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
thank you. Thank you for attending. I think one of the important problems is financial aspect. If you can't find a proper way to attend the meetings, not for students, even for even for people, even for people like me, retired persons, it's not easy to attend meetings, conferences. Sometimes industry gets in and helps, but not always. So this is indeed a problem. I know WPA has tried, at least in the last term, Afsal Javed tried to have some special arrangements for the students, but it's of course too little when compared to the number of students who would like to attend. Well, thank you all. If there is any question, as my colleagues said, please share your questions or comments. Otherwise, I can ask for your last words. Moham, would you like to add before we close?
I actually was going to ask you, Dr. Bulant, as someone who is a very seasoned psychiatrist, now retired, I'm sure you've attended like a lot of conferences in your time. What was your experience like? Do you have any specific tips and tricks for us juniors?
Well, I wish I had attended your presentation before I was in applying for the conferences. Well, I had attended my first Congress, I think, when I was a resident. It wasn't so hard then to participate because during those days, everything was not so expensive and people tried to help more. The number was not so high. I think one of the points which you made, and Batu also underlined that, is being yourself. Not to try to fake anyone. Just be yourself and be patient. That's it.
That's a very good point. And I'm glad you brought up the financial aspect of it. I know Farhad touched on it a little bit as well. And maybe this could be a future topic for the seed group meetings, but the online conferences. I know there's pretty much every conference has like an online component as well. So maybe that could be discussed. I'm not too sure. I've never attended any of those myself personally, I don't know if anyone in the group has like presented online in some of these conferences.
Well, if those things are arranged by companies, those also need some financial background. I mean, it's not free at all. Irem wants to say something, I think. Please, Irem.
So I want to add a little thing on the like financial aspect and scholarship thing. For the last international meeting for Psychiatric Association, we had an opportunity to provide like to 50 students an online scholarship, online participation scholarship, and then it was just like for two people to we could just provide an in-person scholarship for just two people. So we tried to increase the number, and at the end, we had the opportunity to have five of our student members over there who had their presentations, but it was very difficult to arrange this. And like Maham said, it it can be like very easy for the providers to have some participants online because yes, it has some costs too, but it is like nothing compared to in-person participation. So they really prefer to do it online. Uh, eh, for me, I had a chance to present online, like in one of the international meetings of Psychiatric Association of Turkey when I was a medical student, because at that time everything was online. It was like COVID times. Um, I think it's a good opportunity, and it is easy sometimes for also student, uh, like not to worry about accommodation or flight or anything, just to prepare your presentation and attend. But I think that it's difficult to like communicate with people in this version. So if you want to have some presentation and write it down on your CV and have experience about preparing presentation, yes, it's good online presentations. But if your like main goal is to connect with people and know people and everything, it's not very enough. Like I think that yeah, like you have to get in touch, like you said, shake hands and see their faces and have a cup of coffee maybe sometimes. So I think it's better if you can to attend in person.
Yeah, I'm also totally agree with Ram. I also had experience similar to Ram. I also presented some presentation online, but it's like really nothing near to like attending like face to face. It's really like limiting.
As you know, we have our Zoom meetings for the last 35 months. It's a long period, but still we have too little participants. Actually, we should think more, I think, on how to have the motivation for our audience to attend, to contribute. Today's presentations are very important in this sense. Okay. Any other words to add? Ferhat, Batu, İrem?
And
Yeah.
thank you for attending for everyone. And like you can reach out to us like the one you want. Just like thank you. And thank you, Dr. Bland, for like providing us this like platform actually, gathering us together and giving chance for us to presenting our ideas. It's really good. And just like one point, the thing is that actually I think with like the seat group, the problem, like for example, I knew Maham even like as she said, like maybe more than a year, but we never had a chance like to like really connect on that level. So it's really make hard like to really keep up an international group like from all over the world, like which like we have some common areas, but like not that much. We didn't like go and hang out or like other stuff. But when I like met with Maham face to face, it's really like even like having a dinner together, it really connects a lot and really like give you motivation to keep up with that person, having conversation with that person. So I think the main problem with our work group is that like, um, I mean, if you wanna like have a connection, it takes time, as Batu said. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It takes time for everything, for being. Thank you all. I'm just closing this session. Hope to meet you, as one of you said, next month and discuss on another issue. Thank you all for being here. We have silent followers. Thanks to them also. Hope to meet at another meeting. Thank you.